What's up, everybody? It's Heat Override, and I'm ready to bring the pain for you and Dr. Roto this week. Ooh, yeah. Man, do I have another Heat-tastic review for you. Ooh, yeah. Right? It's time to bring the pain. I was at the Fantasy Football Expo yesterday, practically the entire day with my buddy Dan. So we're going to talk about that. So let's get the article from Friday, because that's normally what I do with my Heat-tastic review. And then, of course, I've been throwing in article reviews and everything, but that's why I want to review the Fantasy Football Expo at the end of this episode. So you'll want to tune in for that, especially if you've never been. You want to hear about some cool things, good restaurant reviews, things like that. You definitely want to check out that part of the show. It's definitely knowledgeable. Ooh, yeah. And the people that I talked to, yeah, met for the first time. Yeah. So let's hit it off. We had Berger got the home run, check mark. Macy hit, check mark. Riley did not get that RBI, and Josh Bell did not get his two RBIs, which kind of made the parlays kind of all go off kilter. So I'm not going to do any ties or anything like that with this article. It's not worth it for me. So another 2-2 week, and that's okay. At the same time, it puts overall for the year 45-30 for this article. So I think that's all right. I think it's cool. You know, one of those things. So let's now that that's out the way, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Fantasy Football Expo. All right, every year in Canton, Ohio, Bob Lung and all of his associates get together and they host this event at the Hall of Fame, Football Hall of Fame. And it's where a lot of fantasy football experts or just football enthusiasts alone like to go, especially it's the week after the Hall of Fame game. So you get that whole build and you get the buzz back to the hall. And then immediately after that, you get the expo. So he has practically a lot of things changed in the 2 years. I didn't go last year, but going this year, since I've been gone, yeah, a lot of things changed. And so that being said, it was one of those, I was like, all right, well, let's go through the whole rundown because I want to start the day off. So I got there. I met my buddy Dan at the Hall of Fame, and this was his first time he ever got to see the Hall of Fame. So he walked around, took it all in, took a few pictures. We walked many circles because there were some additions and some things added on. And I mean, I was there 2 years ago for the expo. So, but since then, we'll get to what's been added on and things like that. So, but where they have the draft rooms now for all the fantasy experts, the King's Classic, that right there, that's a big one. And that was down this special hallway where these like chandelier lights were just way over. I don't remember any of that. That was wild. I was like, oh, all right, all right. I was just like, all right, cool. So as I'm taking it all in, Dan, we go to the next one, and that was an auction draft going on. So Dan was like, hey, what's that? They kind of bid like that. There's the guy. There actually is guy. He's like, oh, come on, never know. He always talks to me. He's got bid one time, same thing. You got here next. Got $35 for Joe Burrow. Go 35, 40, 40. I was like, what? And I was like, this is crazy. And then, of course, in the other room, that's where they had the Queen's Classic and then the IDP League. So that's where I saw the IDP Godfather, Gary Davenport. Yeah, right. So I didn't get a lot of time to talk to Gary last time, even though I was next to football guys when I went, because when I went with Dr. Roto, we had a booth. So let's move along. After that, after the hall, and I saw everybody was kind of getting into the next auction draft. I knew that was gonna be a little longer. Me and Dan were hungry because we did a 2-hour, 20-minute drive for us both ways, because we did drive home last night. And so we kind of went over. I saw Isaac Bruce's. I didn't know Isaac Bruce has an ice cream shop called Smush. So I thought that was really cool, but we didn't go have ice cream. We wanted, food. So the one place that we wanted to go, the Brew Kettle, was off limits for a party until 4 p.m. So what I did was we went over to the Don Schula's American Kitchen, and the food looked great. That passed us and everything like that. And we just had a few beers and watched Team USA against France and that whole thing, and get, cheering with the crowd, having a good time. It was really neat. You got that. So after that, the Brew Kettle finally opened up. I was like, hey, let's go, man. Let's go get something to eat now. All right. So we get there, we get to the Brew Kettle. Everything was great. Let me tell you, I had this most amazing steak sandwich. I could cook a steak sandwich or steak sub, I should say. But this is more like a sandwich because they had it on like a really elegant, like it was one of those crostini rolls or something. It was just beautiful, huge too. Lots of hot stuff, peppers all through it, onions, and since this so the brew kettle, a little history on the brew kettle here. The brew kettle is practically a brewery and they have their own brew. So, there was about 15 of those on there. And I tried two. I tried the berry one and then I tried the mango one of their main beers. That they were both really good. And then so that steak sandwich by far, because they smoke a lot of their meats there. This is smoked shaved ribeye. And I'm telling you right now, it's amazing. When you go to the Football Hall of Fame, you definitely gotta get the steak sandwich. It's amazing, right? So the fries were good, and they had smoked applesauce. I was like, what? Smoked applesauce? And I was like, oh, wasn't like cinnamony or anything like that. But you could taste the smoke. Like they definitely cooked this in the smoker. They brought out, I'm telling you, it was an amazing, amazing dish. Unfortunately, they kind of double charged me, so I have to get through that. But regardless, things happen when you're out and about, and it's a busy environment. There was at least, man, like 5,000, 10,000 people at the Hall of Fame. I mean, all those experts there, and then all the expert teams there, just everybody. I mean, that was a lot of people. So, that being said, let's get to the expo Saturday night out. So I was texting Bob, and Bob said, "Hey, if you come by, since I was only really in for that one day, the one day." And he goes, "No, if you come by, I'll get you into the draft party that way, because it just makes kind of everything you eat." I was done. Then we waited, walked around for about an hour. Which, by the way, the Hall of Fame Village is insanely great. It's awesome. It's beautiful. I mean, there's a Ferris wheel. There's this thing that takes people up. Man, it's crazy good stuff. And at the same time, when you're going back at it, you're looking and you're going, man, there's so much to do. And you're also walking on hills. So be ready to walk a lot. And there's a decent amount of shade because of being between the buildings and things like that. You'll definitely have a good time. But man, this place was way bigger than I remember when I went the last time. Now, mind you, I hadn't been to the Hall of Fame when I went last time and we did the expo. I hadn't been to the Hall of Fame before that for maybe like 8, 10 years. So this 2 years is just this village getting made and just the different traffic patterns now, and seeing this, like, I think a hotel or another huge building going up. It's just incredible. And for me, to experience that, and then now they have the Black History where they have the greatest players there. And I got to go through there. So I saw people like Rosie Greer in there. And I was like, oh, look, it's Rosie Greer. They highlight, a lot more highlighted players. And it was awesome. Shannon Sharp was in there. Just a whole bunch of people were in there. So, finally I got there. I met up with Bob. Everything was great. His wife was manning the door as always. So she remembered me and everything, and she knew. So we went over, we got in, and we just took in the whole experience. And it was so fun the whole time. We were sitting there just listening, talking with other experts, just talking football. We didn't even talk about like average draft position or anything like that. We literally just talked about, it felt great to just talk football with other people. And just, this is another thing. This is why this party is so big. So if you've never been, you definitely got to go, because when you get the expo ticket, all you got to do is get your hotel room. You're there Friday night, you're there Saturday all day, you're there Sunday all day. You get all that access for what he's asking for. It is not. He's got a VIP access now too. And then you get a shirt on top of that, amongst all other coupons for all the fantasy sites to help you save money for all those. It just, to me, overall, it's a great experience. But since we couldn't do Friday and we couldn't do Sunday, we just kept it to the one day. And that was a really nice token. So thank you, Bob, for allowing that. And by the way, also great job to you and the staff on putting that all together. It was also great to finally, I caught up with Sandro in when he was in one of the drafts. It was actually in the Kings Classics draft. He was there. So I ran into him and I talked to him for a few minutes while things seemed a little, calm down. The Sirius XM booth was right there, kind of wild. So then I rolled out of there. And so I got to see Sandro. Finally ran into Bob Harris a few times that night. But we just, you kind of just got to catch up with the people. There's a lot of people you got to get things. Ran into Kevin from Trophy Smack near the end. That was awesome. Again, thank you. It was great to see you again, Kevin. And then I actually got to meet Scott Fish. And like the minute I saw him, I was like, "Hey, how you doing, Scott?" And he just knew it was him. And we got to talk, and I thanked him for the bid and, being able to get me into the Predator division for Scott Fishbowl this year. Can't wait to dominate that league this year and then dominate from there going out. Hopefully we get some good luck, no injuries. Yeah. Woo. And, there's so many. I met Kevin Noon. Kevin Noon, he's a college guy, works for a college site. You can find him on the X or Twitter, Twix, whatever you want to call it. And he was just a really great. Actually met him. I was talking with him at the Brew Kettle, and with the Brew Kettle, that's where I was. It was just that's kind of what happened. We were all talking and a few other guys. So when we all cashed out and everything, that's why there was a mishap. But at the same time, it's still sweat off my back because things happen, and maybe I'll get my money back. Maybe I don't. Who cares? At the same time, you can't put a price on the time that you could have with all these people. I ended up driving home after, not drinking some beers for a while and having a good time. And I had to stop, a couple times, but that was it. It kind of made sense. And then I was finally home and I was exhausted. All of that walking up and down the stairs, through the hall, all over those sidewalks, walking back through the school. I never walked through that high school before or looked at the high school. It was awesome. I never did any of that. So it was really great to experience the Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, along with the Hall of Fame Village and, of course, the school. I want to say have a great day, everybody. I hope your weekend goes great. Look forward to more football articles. Get to Dr. Roto. Use code word DOC. Also on RT Sports, use code word DOC. You get a 100% bonus match. Let's get some things done over there, right? Let's win some money. I need to get back on there. Sometimes I've been so busy with karate tournaments and things. It's set. But one thing you always have to remember is always remember to bring the pain. Have a great day, everybody. And may the expo be with you. Get there next year or be square. Yeah.